Today's headline: Odette leaves 389 dead. Duterte wants disaster law amended. Lawmakers push for strong houses evacuation centers. Bulacan fireworks inspected. Tracking solutions with Roxas Blvd closure planned. Supreme Court ABS-CBN lensmen dismissal illegal. United Nations condemns Myanmar Massacre. Good morning, I am Ken Vasquez and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Today is December 28, 2021 and here are the latest news of this Tuesday morning. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council announced on Monday that the death toll from Typhoon Odette has reached 389 with over 22.02 billion pesos worth of damage. Data from the NDRRMC also disclosed that those reported injured have reached a total of 1,146 and affected more than 4.2 million people in Mimaropa, Bicol, Western Visayas, Central Visayas, Eastern Visayas, Zamboanga, Northern Mindanao, Southern Mindanao, Central Mindanao, Caraga Region, and Bangsamoro. It added that 64 persons remain missing while more than 500,000 or 570,960 are still in evacuation centers or staying at the homes of friends, relatives, and private properties that opened shelters 2 days after the Christmas. Meantime, Department of Social Welfare and Development spokesperson Undersecretary Irene Dumlao disclosed that at least 130 million pesos worth of assistance has been given to affected areas. She added that the amount includes more than 99 million pesos worth of food and non-food items, as well as some 30 million pesos worth of assistance for local government units. Meanwhile, damage to infrastructure ballooned further to 16.71 billion pesos, while losses in agriculture now stand at 5.31 billion pesos for a total that comes closer to the devastation caused by the typhoon trio of Quinta, Rolly, and Ulysses last year. Dumlao said financial assistance to affected families is slated to come on in areas already in recovery stage like Western Visayas when plans for emergency shelter assistance and cash for work schemes are drawn up. Such aid for badly hit areas or those that are still in response stage may come later. In affected regions, 284 cities and municipalities experienced power outage with electricity restored in only 154 so far. 18 cities and municipalities also reported that water supply outage or interruption and supply has been restored in only one. Telecommunications were also down in 371 cities and municipalities and have so far been restored in 115 of them. President Rodrigo Duterte urged his successor to remove the stupid provisions in existing disaster management law which requires an assessment of catastrophe hit areas before state of calamity is declared. Duterte made that call during the public address on Monday night as he lamented that he is supposed to provide LED or LED to his late proclamation of a state calamity in region hit by Typhoon Odette. The chief executive described the said provision as another legal obstacle or burden on government officials to immediately respond to areas struck by disasters. He also claimed that he had informed the Commission audit that he would ignore such provision since the law had stalled the state of calamity declaration. The said provision reads the declaration and lifting of state of calamity may also be issued by the local sanggunian upon the recommendation of the LDRRMC based on the results of damage assessment and needs analysis. Duterte last week apologized for delays in assistance for the victims of Odette, saying that the massive devastation in several provinces stalled the release of funds. Duterte earmarked 10 billion pesos recovery fund for areas affected by Typhoon Odette, of which 4 billion will be sourced from the proposed 2022 national budget. His declaration allowed local government units to top their quick response funds that they can use to provide relief efforts for their constituents. It also enabled them to impose a price freeze on basic goods to stop overpricing, profiteering, and hoarding of food, medicines, fuel, among other supplies. A state of calamity declaration may also warrant international humanitarian assistance as deemed necessary. In other news, while Quezon City Representative Alfred Vargas on Monday called for the immediate construction of permanent evacuation centers across the country following the devastation caused by Typhoon Odette, Albay Representative Joey Salceda also pushed for building disaster-resilient houses. Vargas said on the onslaught of Odette underscored the need for immediate passage of bill mandating the establishment of permanent evacuation areas nationwide. Urging the Senate to immediately pass the proposed law, the loss of lives and property in Visayas and Mindanao should be seen as a wake-up call for the Congress to be proactive in their legislation. Vargas is the principal author of House Bill 8990, or an act establishing evacuation centers in every city and municipality, which had been approved unanimously by the House of Representatives. He also averred that setting up the evacuation centers that are climate resilient, located in safe zones, and equipped with needed amenities offers a long-term solution to the crisis conditions in communities severely affected by increasingly powerful typhoons. Among other provisions in the measure, it proposed the construction of maintenance of evacuation centers in all cities and municipalities, with the Department of Environment and National Resources that is tasked with identifying the site based on specific provisions and standards in bill. Salceda meanwhile suggested that permanent rehousing and reallocating must be included in the government's infrastructure plan. He is pushing for the creation of Department of Disaster Resilience. He also mentioned that the rehabilitation must therefore involve building roads, support infrastructures such as schools, healthcare facilities, and new housing in areas that are safer from natural and geohazards. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris masaya, pagsama-sama.
Si Harry Roque ang pinakamagaling na spokesman, kaya inggit sa kanya ang oposisyon.
Tama lang na ipinaglaban ko ang balik trabaho para bumalik ang kita ng mga nagtatrabaho at naghahanap buhay. Hindi pwedeng magutom ang pamilya. Dapat lang po ingat buhay para sa hanap buhay. Basta trabaho, kita at hanap buhay ang nakataya. Nasa harap niyo po ako.
Ibigay natin ang tudong suporta kay Harry.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris masaya, pagsama-sama.
We are back on Tribune News on Q. The provincial government here has spearhead in the inspection of several pyrotechnic stores in the Barangay Turo ahead of the New Year celebration next week. Bulacan Governor Daniel Fernando led the inspection along with officials from the Pyrotechnics Regulatory Board. the Philippine National Police, and some government agencies. Fernando said the move ensures that the rules and regulations stated in the Republic Act 7183 on manufacturing, sale, and distribution are observed by manufacturers, dealers, and retailers. He added that he wanted to assure the health safety protocols and being observed in the pyro marketplace in this town. According to Fernando, he also wants to promote the pyro industry in informing by general and consuming public that fireworks are not totally banned as perceived by many. Various government agencies are meeting to discuss solutions, including finding alternative routes for trucks and trailers that will be affected by the closure of portion of Roxas Blvd. Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade and Metropolitan Manila Development Authority Chair Benjamin Benhur Abalos led the inspection of Manila International Container Terminal. Manila on Monday, as its operation may be affected by the repair of main box culvert along the boulevard. Abalos said that one of the possible solutions that they are eyeing is for the container vans to be carried on barges to be transported from MICT going to Cavite Gateway Terminal in Tansa, Cavite. He stressed that the agency has yet to determine if a portion of southbound direction partially closed to vehicular of Roxas Blvd fronting HK Sun Plaza will be totally or trafficked. Abalos explained that the structural integrity of the said road is at stake and they are appealing for the public's understanding on the temporary inconvenience of the road closure it would cause as the construction is only for these 3 months. Tugade said that the Cavite Gateway Terminal will enable efficient transport of container trucks. The rehabilitation of the damaged Libertad drainage main box culvert in front of Libertad pumping station in Pasay City would require the immediate closure of southbound portion of Roxas Blvd. Approximately 1,000 cargo trucks and trailers per day traverse Roxas Blvd's southbound direction alone. In other news, the Supreme Court has affirmed a Court of Appeals decision that the dismissal of 4 cameramen by ABS-CBN Corporation in 2003 was illegal. In a 22-page decision released on Monday, the Supreme Court, the First Division, denied a petition for review filed by the now shuttered ABS-CBN against a 2011 Court of Appeals decision in favor of the cameraman. The Court of Appeals reversed and set aside the resolutions issued by the National Labor Relations Commission, junking the complaints on lensmen Kessler, Tahan Langit, Vladimir Martin, Hervey Medina, and Juan Paulo. Said the complainants charged ABS-CBN before NLRC with illegal dismissal and unfair labor practices. In its ruling backed by the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals ordered ABS-CBN to immediately reinstate the 4 to their former positions without loss of seniority rights, with payment of back wages and all other statutory monetary benefits from the time they were dismissed to the date of their reinstatement. However, ABS-CBN has been denied a new franchise by the Congress in 2020, which may have left the complainants with no previous positions to be reinstated into. ABS-CBN claimed the complainants were independent contractors engaged to render service only for the specific programs by their respective producers. They were allegedly coterminous with the programs for which they were engaged, it added. The Supreme Court ruled that the Court of Appeals correctly considered the evidence presented by the cameraman before the NLRC, such as identification cards, income tax returns, payslips, memoranda issued to discipline similarly situated employees, work schedules issued by petitioner, and documents from the Social Security Service, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig to prove the existence of employer-employee relationship with their petitioner. The Court of Appeals found the NLRC committed grave abuse of discretion in ruling that no employer-employee relationship existed, totally disregarding substantial evidence presented to substantively show that respondents are truly employees of the company. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris Masaya, pagsama-sama. Alamin ang latest entertainment at sa mga paborito nyong celebrities kasama si Pocholo Concepcion sa programang WhatsApp. Makibanding at kwentuhan kasama ang mga kilalang personalidad sa entertainment industry. Sama-sama natin silang kilalanin at silipin ang makulay nilang mundo every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Kaya sit back and relax lang kayo mga katribu. Hanapin at ilike ang Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Dahil sagot na namin ang masayang kwentuhan dito lang sa WhatsApp. Mga impormasyong direktang makukuha mula sa sources at diretsahang usapan. Yan ang atid namin sa inyo sa programang Straight Talk. Samahan nyo kami sa makabuluhang talakayan live tuwing Martes alas 10 ng umaga sa official Facebook page ng Daily Tribune at Tribune Now on YouTube.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris Masaya, pagsama-sama.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. A United Nations official said on Sunday that he was horrified by credible reports that at least 35 civilians were killed and their bodies burned in Myanmar. A monitoring group of local media have blamed the attack on junta troops. UN Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs Martin Griffiths said in a statement that he condemned this grievous incident and all attacks against civilians throughout the country. He called for a thorough and transparent investigation. Myanmar has been in chaos since a February coup with more than 1,300 people killed in a crackdown by security forces, according to a local monitoring group. People's Defense Forces or PDF have sprung across the country to fight the junta and have drawn the military into a bloody stalemate of clashes and reprisals. On Saturday, photos appeared on social media purporting to show two burned-out trucks and a car on a highway in Pruso Township in Kaya State with the charred remains of bodies inside. A member of local PDF group said that fighters had found the vehicle Saturday morning after hearing the military had stopped several vehicles in Pruso after clashes with its fighters nearby on Friday. Myanmar's junta previously said that its troops had been attacked in Pruso on Friday after attempting to stop 7 cars driving in a suspicious way. Troops have killed a number of people in the following clash, spokesperson Zo Min Tun told AFP without giving details. The Myanmar Witness Monitor said it had confirmed local media reports and witness accounts from local fighters that 35 people, including children and women, are burnt and killed by the military on December 24th in Pruso Township. PDF groups have surprised the army with their effectiveness analysis as the military struggles to break resistance to its rules. And that wraps up the stories this morning. Before we go, we would like to thank the following: the SM Store, the Department of Tourism, Araneta City, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Ken Vasquez on Tribune News on Q, reminding you that we only have 4 days before 2022. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tercito are available on our community Viber.